When I told people I go to Africa, they were very much cared about it. Oh, you want to travel alone? Is it a good decision? I was very curious about, is this picture we have in the Western country of Africa being poor and underdeveloped, is this the reality, or is it there's something else? My name is Ulrike. I come from Germany and I have a year off and decided to travel. And the first destination is now Africa. I've read a lot about colonialism and the history of Africa, and I'm very interested in what is going on here. And I stood in front of the map and just decided which country will be the first, and my decision is Ghana, and I'm very happy about that. Reading a lot about the history, and especially reading actual female books about Africa, I was very curious about, is this picture we have in the Western country of Africa being poor and underdeveloped, is this the reality, or is it there's something else? When I told people I go to Africa, they were very much cared about it. Oh, you want to travel alone? It's a country where you never know. Is it a good decision to the choice to go to Africa? And I needed a lot of brave to take this through. And in the outside, I always told, oh, that's no problem, I will go on with it. And on the inside, it was very strange for me too. I didn't know what will expect me. I've been here in Accra now for 3 weeks, and I hadn't even one situation feeling me insecure or uncomfortable. There were a few things I really, which were the point. First, I got to know to this movement, Return to Ghana. I find it a very good sign to tell all the people from Ghana living abroad to come back. We need your knowledge, we need your skills. We want to develop this country within. And about that I was very impressed. And it's a political calm country, I would say. And I'm a funeral lady, so I was interested in the coffins too. So I got here at the beginning of September. It was the 1st or 2nd September. And first I had a real cultural clash. I walked around here, I had a guiding tour at Jamestown, and I was really overwhelmed about this circumstances people live in. How can people live like that? This was a big question I had. Meanwhile, I think a lot about this, and I think in Western cities it's more sorted out. We have in our centers just a lot of shops, and the rents are high, so those people who are poorer or have more difficulties to live, they live in the surroundings, and the circumstances are not so mixed up, and they are not so visible. So yes, visible is, I think, the right word. So, and then getting to know to this, I started to a personal research project, I call it. I wanted to know do all the people live like that? Or are there different and diverse circumstances how people live? And really Accra is a good experience for this, because you see different and diverse ways of living very near to each other. And Oganga, I got to know to a lot of people, and this was very touching for me to get to know how they care about me. If I ask where is her, they escort me. The first taxi driver I met, he organized my SIM card. I told him that I want to get to know to female, to woman. He organized the contact to his sister. I told him I want to go to a funeral, and he organized that I was visiting funeral. So everybody was so helpful, and I don't think it's like that in my country. I'm very curious about how things work, and I'm very impressed about how some things are organized. For example, there's a wedding, the street is just blocked. The people celebrate the whole day the wedding. In Germany, you would have to make an announcement in the local government. There will be no yes for this. So people just do things, and it's yes, or your traffic, for example. When I visited this Baobab Children Foundation near Cape Coast, I went back with the Jojo. And then in the Jojo I asked, how can I come from this point to Accra? And he said he will organize it. Again, very friendly. And he stopped at a fuel station, and there was somebody who had a car for 4 passengers, and another person organized all the passengers for Accra, you know this. And in 10 minutes the car was filled with 4 passengers, and the driver drove us to Accra. The driver is a nurse. He's not a driver. He's just on his way, and he doesn't want to drive alone. That's the point. So it's so easily done, everything. So this is a really big impression for me. Mm-hmm. Yes. Cape Coast was very, very touching for me, because I've read the book of Yagazi, Homegoing.
Yes, Homegoing.
Homegoing. And she describes in the book the biography of 2 women, and one is a slave, and she did very good research how the dungeons are and how the circumstances in that time were actually. And reading this book touched me in the first step, and then being at Cape Coast, staying in these dungeons, and we had a very good guide who, for example, switched off the light and we were in darkness, and he told us, now this was the situation for 4 months. So I felt a lot of sorrow about what had happened in that times, and I feel that there will be a lot of need to talk about that and to heal this. Can I tell another story? In Cape Coast, there is the door of no return. All the slaves who were sent to abroad went through a door, and they called it the door of no return. And a few years ago, there was a ceremony, because the skulls of those people, the skulls which were kept in the European archives, they were brought back, and they decided to take these skulls through this door from the other side, and they renamed it, they reframed it, they did the name Door of Return on the other side. And this was very touching because it's so necessary to talk about that. You and me, we, the people from the Western Hemisphere, and I think all the Africans and all those people, their ancients have suffered of this part of the history. And that's a research question for me as well, because the guide said at the end of the tour, there are a lot of forms of modern slavery, and this is a very important point we have to look at.
Do you think that it's time that Western countries start taking accountability for some of the atrocities they committed against Africa?
Of course, and I'm so ashamed that they don't. Really ashamed, personal ashamed. And well, that's a big question. What can I do to change this? It's awful. It's awful, really awful, disgusting. I don't find the right English words for this. What I really enjoy is that a lot of people like to discuss things with me. For example, Chichi, who is the barman here, the heart of the hostel, we call it, he does panel discussions with me. I ask questions, and he is a man living here, and he has the view from within, and I can ask questions. But I discuss it also with some taxi drivers, or with the general manager of this Boabab Children Foundation, everywhere where I am, or with you, Oganga. Everywhere where I am, I try to ask my questions and to get to know two different views. I've been in South Africa 10 years ago. My sister lives there, and well, I think 10 years ago I had a very touristic view on this country, and now traveling alone and having more time. I have 4 weeks now in Ghana. I will pass to Tanzania. I will stay there for 4 weeks too, and then I go down to South Africa and want to stay there for 4 weeks again. So it's another focus. I have time, and I don't want to do these touristic things. I really want to get to know to the people and to explore my questions, my really inner questions I have. And my vision is, Oganga, we should this global village thing. We are a globalized world, and due to the climate change, it's so necessary that we come together and that we sit on one table and discuss what we can do and find solutions. And this is a question of attitude. We in the Western countries, we have still this attitude of we know how it goes, you are underdeveloped, I tell you now how it works. And yes, and we don't feel responsible that we are guilty for the climate change in more ways than Africa, and that we should meet these people, or all people all around the world, on the same attitude and not one above the other. There are a lot of arrogant views, but I have to say, I have this in my mind too. You get used to it if you are brought up in the Western countries, and it's all around. So you really have to dislearn it, or I don't know the English, unlearn this way of thinking and this way of looking on things. Yes, the memories. Oh, that's difficult. I haven't already time to reflect really. I think I have a lot of views of faces and beauty and touching moments in the contact with people.
Finally, would you ever come back to
Yes,
Ghana?
please.
Would you ever come back to Ghana?
Yes, of course. I plan to, really. And yesterday I thought about that and thought, okay, I will have to work something here to come back. And then a man came along and just offered me a job. So I think if I want to come back after my travel year, there will be opportunities. So we'll see about that.
We'll look forward to having you.
Yes, that's very nice.
What Ghanaian word have you learned so far?
Which Ghanaian?
Words can you speak?
Akwaba, Etisei, Eye,